It was the summer of 1992 when Mike and Sharon Reynolds, a couple days after they just buried their daughter, who had been fatally shot by a felon who's tried to steal her purse. A few days later, this is when Mike and Sharon had met with the governor at the time, Pete Wilson, and Mike had told Pete Wilson that he was going to go after these criminals in a bad way, the kind of criminals that had killed his daughter in this way. And 2 years later, Pete Wilson was signing into law, the 3 strikes law, 3 strikes and you're out. Well, today that we're facing a fiscal crisis and we need to reduce our prison population, Prop 36 is on the ballots again. And what Prop 36 does is you only get a life sentence if your third strike was a serious or violent felony, or if a firearm was used, or you still get a life sentence if a prior conviction was rape, child molestation, or prior murder. There's also a resentencing for this, like the criminals that have been in 15, 16 years that have committed nonviolent, non-serious crimes. They'll get resentenced. They're not going to get actually let out into society free yet. So proposition, California, according to the Legislative Analyst Office, Proposition 36 would help free up $70 to $90 million in 2 decades. It also, half of the inmates convicted under the 3 strikes law are convicted of non-serious, non-violent crimes. And so in this speech, I'll inform you about the economics of Proposition 36 and where that money will go. I'll introduce California's spending plan, specifically on how they budgeted money for education towards criminal justice. Second, I'll talk about how much it actually costs to house an inmate for a minimum of 25 years. Then I'll talk about the statistics of the nonviolent, non-serious criminals and how much it costs to house them as opposed to the cost of the crime that they did. So in 2012-2013, California has set a budget of $9.8 billion for criminal justice, while our general fund for higher education is only $9.5 billion. So we spend more on criminal justice than we do on education, on our higher education. And this is also seen through our high tuition increase and our high fees. So Proposition 36 states that it will send that money directly towards education or crime prevention programs. So in the Cal States, right now, they're expected to receive about $1.7 billion of your tuition money, while the universities will expect to receive about $2.4 billion of the money. So in Department of Justice, which is another sector of the judiciary and criminal justice, well, the Cal States, they lost $554 million in the reduction of their budget. The Department of Justice got to enjoy a 10% increase in their budget this year. So that's money that would be, that could be spent towards our education instead of these nonviolent, non-serious criminals. Second, I want to talk about how much it actually costs to house an inmate for a minimum of 25 years. It costs about $50,000 a year to house an inmate for a violent, serious inmate. This isn't including the medical costs, since every inmate is entitled to medical care. It would, those costs often soar way above projection. And it doesn't help that the prison systems grossly abuse the money by outsourcing the doctors and the nurses and using outside laboratories as well. And 2011, there's already been a federal court has already imposed to reduce the prison population by 50,000 inmates. In order to do this, they have already released criminals out on what they call non-revocable parole, and this is when prisoners are released out into the community with no oversight of parole officers. And what this will do, this helps free up money in the criminal and judiciary system, helps reduce the burden of the parole officers, and it helps reduce case burden, and it'll help reduce the population, the prison population, and all. And 50. Now we want to talk about the statistics about those about the nonviolent, non-serious inmates. About 8,860 inmates are in jail right now for three-strike law. About half of those inmates are non-serious, non-violent, so about 3,680 are, as of June 30th, have been convicted of nonviolent, non-serious crimes. And nonviolent, non-serious crimes that they until can be as simple as drug and property crimes. So drug and property crimes, the drug crime will be simple possession or marijuana sales. The property crimes can include burglary, grand theft, fraud or forgery. And so if you committed, your third strike was, buying a bag of weed or something, you could, with this law now, you wouldn't be sentenced to the 25 years to life. You'd be looked at, your sentence would get doubled, but you wouldn't get sentenced to a third strike for 25 years to life. And it currently costs $50,000 a year to house an inmate. If you multiply that by 25 years, because they're spending a minimum of 25 years to life, you're looking at $1.25 million, so $1.25 million of money that's just being spent on that. And if you multiply that by the number of inmates that are in there right now, you're looking at almost like maybe $5 billion over the course of 25 years of all those people that we're spending money on. So we're spending money on these nonviolent, non-serious inmates. And what Proposition 36 will say, it says that it'll take that money and spend it, and take that money and put it directly into crime prevention programs to help reduce the crime, because the crime rate hasn't actually reduced. In fact, 25 states have the three strikes law, and 25 states don't. And of those 25 states that don't, they got to enjoy the same drop in crime as California, but without spending all that money. So in this speech, I inform you about Proposition 36. First, I inform you about California's state budget and how they budgeted money towards education and criminal justice. Second, I inform you about how much it costs to house an inmate for a minimum of 25 years to life. And then third, I inform you about the statistics of nonviolent, non-serious criminals. So in order to keep California afloat, the California voter needs to know where their hard-earned money is being spent. And we do need money to help, to fund violent criminals like the one who killed Mike's daughter, but we also need money for education. So now that you guys voted, you did good.